We're jumping into the world of one of the most influential thinkers ever, Saint Augustine.
And look, these aren't just old ideas.
Yeah.
They fundamentally shaped, pretty much how the Western world thinks about everything.
Everything. Government, justice, even the way we see time itself.
So our mission here is to take his most famous work, City of God, which is huge, and just make it crystal clear.
Right. And to really get the book, you have to get the man and the moment he was living in.
Definitely. Augustine was born in 354 AD. This is in Thagaste, North Africa.
And this was a messy time.
A very messy time. The Roman Empire, this massive thing that had seemed permanent, was, slowly collapsing.
And at the same time, Christianity was growing really fast, but was still fighting for its place.
Exactly. And he wasn't some, sheltered saint from day one. He was a wildly brilliant student, really ambitious.
He was studying things like rhetoric in big cities like Carthage and Rome, which for us today is like learning how to be a master debater or persuasive politician.
That's a perfect way to put it. He was learning how to win arguments. And his personal life was this constant tug of war.
Between his parents.
Yeah. His mother, Monica, was a devout Christian, always pushing him toward faith. But his father stuck with the old traditional Roman beliefs.
So Augustine himself, he spent years searching, trying out different philosophies, different lifestyle.
He was restless. And that all kind of came to a head in Milan, where he met Bishop Ambrose and eventually converted. He goes from this restless intellectual to the Bishop of Hippo.
And all that energy, all that struggle, it just gets poured into City of God. But, and this is the key, he didn't write it just because he felt like it.
No, not at all. He wrote it because to the people at the time, it felt like the world had just ended.
Let's set the scene. The year is 410 AD. The Visigoths, a foreign army, they march into the city of Rome and just loot the whole place.
You really can't overstate the shock of this.
No.
Rome had been the center of the known world for 1,000 years. It was the symbol of stability, of power, of civilization itself.
And suddenly it's ransacked. It would be like if the capital of the most powerful nation in the world today was just shut down.
People were terrified. And they needed someone to blame.
And who did they blame?
They blamed the Christians. The argument was, look, this disaster happened because we abandoned our old Roman gods for this new religion.
So City of God was Augustine's answer, a massive 13-year-long project to defend Christianity.
Right. He started around 413, and the goal was basically to say, look, the fall of a physical city, even Rome, isn't the end of the world.
He was trying to give them a bigger perspective, a religious explanation for all of human history.
He was telling them to look higher than the temporary chaos. Which brings us right to the core idea of the whole book.
The two cities.
The two cities. And we have to be super clear here for you.
Yeah, this is important. These are not physical places you can find on a map.
No. They're more like two different ways of living. They're defined by two totally different kinds of love.
Okay, so let's break them down. First, the earthly city.
The earthly city is built on one thing. Self-love. A love of self so powerful that it makes you basically disregard everyone else, even God.
So these are people chasing temporary goals.
Exactly. They're after material wealth, political power, fame, anything that gives you that instant hit of satisfaction, but it never lasts.
Okay, so if that's the earthly city, the city of God has to be the opposite.
It is. It's built on the love of God. The people in this city, they're seeking eternal spiritual truths. Justice.
Things that can't be taken away from you.
Right. An invading army can't steal your virtue. An economic crash can't take away wisdom. Their focus is on what's permanent.
Okay, so here's the part that I think gets confusing. If these two groups exist, why don't we see them? I can't look around my town and draw a line down the middle separating the good guys and the selfish guys.
Because Augustine says they're completely mixed together.
Mixed.
Yep. In every nation, every government, every town on earth right now, you can't just look at someone and know which city they truly belong to.
So what are you supposed to do then, if you're trying to live as part of the city of God?
You live as a traveler. He calls it being a pilgrim.
A pilgrim?
You exist in this world, you obey the laws, you pay your taxes, but you know your true citizenship. Your deepest loyalty is somewhere else. You're just passing through.
And the final separation of these two cities, that only happens
at the very end of time. That's when everyone goes to their final permanent home.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift a bit to a huge question that this book tackles. If God is perfectly good and created everything, why is there evil in the world?
This is one of his most powerful ideas. He says evil is not a substance, it's not a force, and God definitely did not create it.
What is it?
It's a lack of goodness, a turning away from what's right. It's a deficiency.
You mentioned an analogy before that I think really helps, the blindness one.
Right, blindness isn't the thing you could hold. It's the absence of sight. In the same way, evil is the absence of good. It's when something that was created good, like our will, gets corrupted or loses its proper order.
So when a person chooses to do something wrong, it's because they're choosing a lesser good.
That's the perfect term for it. They choose greed, which is a small temporary good, instead of something like love or truth, which are higher eternal goods. That choice is the evil.
And that choice is only possible because of free will.
Absolutely central to this, God gave us free will so our actions would have real moral meaning. If we were just robots following a program, doing a good thing wouldn't mean anything.
It only matters because we could have chosen to do the bad thing instead.
Exactly. But here's the big philosophical problem everyone runs into.
Right. If God already knows what I'm going to choose, am I really free? Am I still responsible?
And Augustine's answer is a hard yes. Even though God knows the future, the choice is still yours. The fault is in our flawed human will, not in the creation itself. Without that freedom, there's no real responsibility.
So if that's how it works for individuals, let's zoom out. How does society work when it's full of all these flawed people making choices? He has that amazing line about justice.
Oh, the one that political science classes still quote all the time.
Without justice, a kingdom is nothing more than a large band of robbers.
It's so blunt. That's his baseline for a functioning state.
But what does he mean by justice? Is it just, cops and courts?
Well, that's part of it, but that's what he'd call earthly justice. For Augustine, true justice only exists when a society honors the divine creator's laws.
So our human laws, like traffic laws or tax codes, they're necessary, but they're not perfect.
Precisely. They are temporary and imperfect systems designed to keep the earthly city from just collapsing into total chaos. And Christians, the pilgrims, should support them because they create enough order to live peacefully.
Which leads us straight to the idea of peace. Everyone wants it, but we're always fighting.
His definition is beautiful. He says, peace is the tranquility of order.
The tranquility of order.
It means everything is in its proper place, working the way it's supposed to. He even argues that people who fight wars are doing it because they want to achieve their own version of peace.
So what's the difference between the peace we get on Earth and the ultimate peace?
The peace we get here is fragile. It's just an agreement between people to not cause chaos. Think of a well-run library. It's peaceful, it's orderly.
But it can be shattered in a second by one person deciding to shout.
One person's pride, one person's greed, and it's gone. The only true lasting peace, where conflict is impossible because everyone loves what is right, is only found in the city of God.
This whole idea completely changes how you view time itself. I mean, before Augustine, a lot of ancient cultures saw history as a circle.
Yeah, a repeating cycle. Things happen, they repeat forever and ever.
Augustine just throws that idea out.
He does. He gives us the linear view of history. It's a straight line. It has a beginning, which is creation, and it's moving toward a specific endpoint, the final judgment.
That must have been so comforting for people living through the fall of Rome. It meant that all this chaos wasn't random. It was part of a bigger plan.
It gave their suffering meaning, and it gives the individual journey meaning too, which gets us to happiness. Augustine says everyone wants to be happy, but we're almost all looking in the wrong places.
We're looking for it in the stuff the earthly city offers, right? Money, fame, pleasure.
All things that can be taken away from you in an instant. Real happiness, he says, comes from practicing virtue, using your free will correctly, and loving things that are eternal.
And for him, the highest virtue is
love. The right kind of love. Love for what is truly and permanently good. If you have that, you have stability.
And this all comes back to the original mistake that created the two cities in the first place. It wasn't just a disagreement. It was pride.
Pride is the root of all of it. That desire to be your own boss, to put yourself above the truth. The earthly city is literally built on pride.
So the city of God must be built on the opposite.
Humility. Recognizing your limitations. Recognizing you need guidance. The daily choice for every person is between that self-centered pride and that truth-centered humility.
Before we wrap up, where did he see people getting this practical guidance? He points to the church, right?
He does. He sees the church as the visible sign of the city of God here on earth, a place to learn these truths and promote moral values.
But he gives a huge warning.
A critical warning. He says you can be physically inside the church building every single week.
But your heart can still belong to the earthly city.
Exactly. You can go through all the rituals, but if your heart is filled with selfish desires for power or fame, you're not really a member. Membership is about the invisible intent of your heart.
So this whole long, purposeful line of history, where does it all end up?
It ends at the final destination, which is decided by your choices. Those who live for the earthly city face a permanent separation from joy, but those who truly belong to the city of God experience eternal life, perfect peace, no more pain, no more sadness.
So Augustine's massive book, written in a time of total crisis, basically told people that their deepest loyalties, what they truly love, are what determine their ultimate destiny.
It's a powerful idea, that the choices we make every day have consequences that last far beyond this temporary life.
And it forces you to consider, if the two cities are really mixed together today, what hidden motivations might be driving the next decision made by a leader, a company, or even your friend.
Good luck with your studies.